This filing makes the Hedera ETF look all but certain. We are going to dive into that. Plus, which one is it now? There's like 6 of them out there. We'll dive into that. Plus, this Hedera DApp drop partners with this point of sale company. Is something strange going on with the stablecoins on Hedera? We'll dive into that. Why should you care about the DREC Alliance? Well, I will tell you why you should care about the DREC Alliance on that segment. And the biggest news today is we're going to dive into this ETF news. By the way, Saucer Swap about to go mobile. Did I mention that? No, I didn't. We're going to dive into all that on today's Frugal BC. By the way, guys, if you like this stuff, please hit the like and subscribe button. Now, remember, of course, as I always say, you don't have to smash it. You can just press it ever so gently, and it works just fine that way too. This is not an Algorand video, so we're going to give a brief shout out to our sponsors. Haystack, the easiest way to trade on Algorand right from your phone. Check that out in the description below. And Marcus Aurelius, a meme coin and NFT project on the Algorand blockchain. And by the way, we got channel memberships where you can see all of our experiments, our Hedera and Algorand experiments, our portfolio, our bull run portfolio review. You can go through all that right on the membership tab. Plus, you get videos before anyone else. So check that out. Options starting at only $1, higher tiers available. But enough about that. Let's get to today's news. First thing I want to talk about is Saucer Swap, the biggest DeFi platform on Hedera. It's about to go mobile. Let's dive in. Right from Saucer Swap Labs themselves, Saucer Swap iOS beta launches October 13th. Is the #1 DEX on Hedera now on your phone, mobile on, well, they say iOS there. So how to get access? You can go to their Discord. They get channels and roles, enable mobile beta tester, and get your test flight link October 13th in the beta channel. Yeah, so to try out these iOS apps, I've done this on Algorand too. You got to get the test flight app, and it allows you to test out some of these apps where otherwise you wouldn't be able to. It can be difficult for some of these crypto companies to get through the app store. This is the way at least to test it out to make sure it works. We had to do this with Cosmic Champs on Algorand for a long time. But if you want to check that out, maybe we should test it out, and maybe I'll have to get in on that. But you can do that. Go to Saucer Swap Labs. You can find them on Discord, or you can find them on Twitter and get the Discord that way. You guys may have heard of Drop, the DApp on Hedera. They just partnered with this point of sale company, which has makes you think payments are as a solution are coming soon to the blockchain. Let's take a look here. Drop Inc. has partnered with Pinnacle Corporation, a leader in cloud-based point of sale, that's what POS means, to bring pay by bank and pay by stablecoin payments to U.S. fuel and convenience retailers, an instant and low-cost alternative to card networks. Now, we've talked about the Paracard on Algorand, and that's the partnership with MasterCard. This is a way to bring stablecoin and pay by bank right through, and I wonder how that would work. Pretty interesting. Integrated into Pinnacle's Affinity Cloud POS, this solution helps retail stores cut transaction costs by up to 2/3, improve cash flow with instant settlement, drive loyalty and repeat business with built-in offers and rewards. And that's just the same thing that they're doing on Algorand, so with a different, slightly different setup here. Pretty cool though. For retailers with average transactions under $10, card fees eat into profits. They do, absolutely. Drop's real-time payment technology built on US bank rails and Hedera's distributed ledger with stablecoin USDC offers a faster and more affordable alternative. Join us for a live demo. We'll be showcasing this next generation payment solution at the NES show October 15th to 17th in Chicago. Not too far away from me. Maybe I should go check that out. Come see how Drop is shaping the future of real-time payments. Well, hey, this is really exciting. This is the kind of stuff that I get excited about. It's not always like the most exciting from like an investment perspective, but I really love seeing this technology be implemented because I think there's a lot of potential for DLT and blockchain technology to work as payment rails, and this is a great way to do it. I'd love to see this working in the wild. We got plenty more left in our show. Is something strange going on with stablecoins in Hedera? Now, I briefly skimmed this one, so I want to dive into this one because I think there may be some points to make about how stablecoins work, and they're an important part of flowing in and out of the network. It's great when you can keep your money on chain, but exit and enter a position without having to use traditional rails. So why don't we dive into what this has to say here. HBAR Hedera Hashgraph is unclear why Hedera's stablecoin supply is having substantial fluctuations. The size of the movements suggests that the amount is being controlled by one or a few individuals. Could also be a sign that more capital is flowing out of Hedera Hashgraph than is coming in. Well, that may be very well the case. There's actually a story here, so why don't we just look at the story. Something weird has been happening with the stablecoin supply on Hedera Hashgraph this year, a trend that may continue in the near term. Data compiled by DeFi Llama shows that the network's stablecoin supply has formed a pattern of rising sharply and then plunging with hours. I've actually seen this on a lot of chains. I don't know if it's that unusual. That is a really big jump, though, I will admit. That is a really big jump because you do see these fluctuate a lot, but that's more than I'm used to seeing, like, say, on Algorand. You know, we're talking about more than 100%. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. You know, going from over 200 million to 50, that's like a 75% drop. That's huge. I didn't see those kinds of drops on Algorand when I've noticed them. So that's interesting. It'd be interesting to look at Algorand as well. The chart shows that the stablecoin supply in Hedera started the year at 42 million and then wavered until the end of the month. It surged to 78 million on January 28th, then plunged to 35 million on the 20th. And it's interesting because it looks like it's, so I actually think it looks like it's coming in and then leaving. It could be people exiting positions and then getting back into the position, but probably whales, like they said. It's probably not a bunch of tiny wallets. It's probably some pretty big players that maybe are taking profits, although you would think it'd be interesting to see this going back to December, November, when things were really flying, because I imagine a lot of people took profits because it doesn't start that way. It starts around 50 million, and then if you actually look at it, the trend is going up. So I don't know if you can't see my mouse on the screen, unfortunately, but you can see from starting from the beginning and going all the way up. Look at what the baseline keeps going higher. So the baseline here is like, it starts off under 50 million and it ends like, just under 100 million. So I don't know if that's like as much concern as, they said 81 million here. I don't think that's as big as concern as they're saying, but it is interesting to look at. The fluctuations are pretty unusual for that much, but I do find it interesting, like I said, that the trend line is moving up. That's something they seem to miss in the original point, but I guess that's something to keep an eye on for sure. Should you care about the DREC alliance? I think it's one of the best things in crypto. Believe it or not, I actually broke news that Hedera and Algorand were in talks over something, and it turned out to be the DREC alliance. I did not break news about the DREC alliance. That distinction belongs to AJ Reich's crypto, but I did break news that they were in talks and they were building something. This is what it was. They started the DREC alliance. Why should you care? Well, why listen to me when you can listen to Lehman Baird? Now, Lehman is one of the founders of Hedera and a very smart guy. Some say a genius. I think they're probably right. Why don't we listen to this clip?
This is across our industry. We have got to make it easy for you to back up your keys and your passwords and passkey information and identity information. Anything you have that is secret. Your grandmother's recipe for chocolate chip cookies. If you want to keep that secret, we can help you keep it secret. This is across our industry. We have got to make it easy for you to back up your keys and your passwords and passkey information and identity information. Anything you have that is secret. Your grandmother's recipe for chocolate chip cookies. If you want to keep that secret, we can help you.
Yeah, well said, Lehman. The thing here is the idea is that you'll be able to get your keys and have a decentralized way to recover your keys to your wallet without giving those keys anyone access to those keys, essentially. So in other words, it's a way to make crypto more usable, because how many people back in, say, 2015, even 2013, bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and now they can't access it because they're not sure where the keys are, or they lost their keys. Heck, I have a bunch of cryptos. I have a bunch of Bitcoin somewhere that at the time was worth like pennies, if that, and now it's probably, 0.01. Used to go do these faucets and you would get like 0.01 Bitcoin. It wasn't very much at the time. Now it's like, that's like $1,000 now, more than $1,000. So this is a great partnership. It started with Algorand and Hedera, I believe. And does this show us who's all in it? Algorand, XRP is in it. Cardano is in it. I wish they put all the assets on there. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Cardano is definitely one. I believe there's some other ones. Yeah, I would definitely put somewhere on there. And maybe, it should be like right at the top, all the chains that are in it, because I think that's a huge selling point for the DREC Alliance. But I think I like this move towards making crypto more usable for the average person. Generally speaking, I think the tech has to be in the background. Just like you don't need to know about the tech to use your iPhone. And so a lot of people use the iPhone. If you had to understand it, way less people would be using the iPhone. When you want adoption, and it needs to actually be easy to use. And last but not least, this ETF filing could mean that an HBAR ETF is imminent. Now, there's a few places that are reporting this, so this is pretty solid, but let's take a look at the latest in HBAR ETFs, because this could be a huge influx of liquidity into the HBAR ecosystem. What I wanted to start off showing, and this is from Tata, we are mutual follows here, HBAR named in the 6 US ETF filings so far. Single asset is Grayscale, Hedera Trust, Canary HBAR ETF, Rex Osprey HBAR ETF, and then in a basket that are like indexes, they're also in the Canary American-made crypto ETF, the Crane Shares Coinbase 50 Index ETF, and the Crane Shares CF Large Cap Crypto Index ETF. So they've been named in like 6 of these so far, which is quite a bit. Now, I will say it's one of these single assets that just filed that looks imminent. Do you know which one it is? Can you take a guess? You can go ahead and pause the video and take a quick guess before we reveal it. All right, well, if you guessed Canary, you were right. Interesting. This is from Eric Balkanus. Canary just filed S1 amendment for Litecoin and HBAR spot ETFs, and they include the fees, 95 basis points each, and the tickers, LTCC and HBAR, which is typically the last thing updated before go time. With the shutdown, though, who knows, but these docs look pretty finalized to me. So that is an issue, because right now, the government is in shutdown, so this may delay some of the ETF filings, but here it is. He's got and we've seen this other places, like Coinbase is also, or not Coinbase, Cointelegraph, I think, reported it as well. The trust will pay sponsor an annualized unified fee of 0.95%. So there's your basis points. That's what I'm talking about. Balkan saying, my take on the 0.9 on the 95 basis points fee, it's pricey versus spot BTC, but pretty normal to see higher fees for areas that are new to being ETF'd, if that's a word, and increasingly niche. That said, if there's flows, other issues will no doubt come and terror dome that stuff with cheaper products. So in other words, he's saying, yeah, if it's really popular, people will come in, they'll offer better deals, but I'm not really planning to buy the ETF. This is going to be for people who are more traditional stock minded, that maybe want to add some exposure without actually dealing with crypto, which you find pretty commonly. And so that's a good thing. Not the only one we have bookmarked, by the way. Like I mentioned, Cointelegraph also reporting it. Just in Canary files S1 amendment for Litecoin and HBAR spot ETFs with 95 basis points fees and tickers. Bloomberg's Eric Balkanus, who we just looked at a tweet from, says this is typically the final step before launch. There's me bullish on HBAR. I also got Mercury Striker saying, why is Algorand not pursued by institutions when 80% of its supply is already in circulation? Well, because nobody cares about that. I'm going to be honest, like I know like people really over index on that. That's the demands, or that's the supply side, but that is nothing without the demand side. So I think right now we're seeing much more demand for HBAR than Algorand. That's just a fact. That's why you're seeing in the ETFs, it's higher up in the market cap despite having a larger supply, even a larger circulating supply, much larger. The amount of the percentage out really doesn't matter. I mean, I understand like if demand were equal, then a tighter supply would, well, even then it's more complicated. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but basically people think that's a way bigger deal than it really is, because it's only taking into account the supply side and not the demand side. I've said that a few times, but just to put that out there again. Anyway, I think that is wonderful news for Hedera, and I think we had some really good news updates to share with you today. So if you like that stuff, hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate that. I tell you, the cycles look very different than they used to look. Usually I'm used to by now. It's like that every day you look and it's higher than it was before. You look at in the morning and then you look in the afternoon, it's like you can't believe how much it's changed. We are not seeing that this cycle. We're seeing like a much slower ramping up, which is kind of interesting. So really, patient investors, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off, but it's going to take a lot more patience than it usually does. But hey, my bags are up. If you've seen my portfolio reviews, you know that I'm still up over 100%. in my bag, and I've had some losses too in there too. So anyway, stay patient. I think we're gonna have a good Q4, maybe into Q1 of next year as well. So stay patient, stay safe out there. I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you in the future.